This video is going to show you a solo Grandmaster Nightfall with a Tessellation NUKE build. This build was submitted by a user from my Discord. If you're somebody that wants to submit a build to me, do it through my Discord. It's an easier process for me to then go to one place, look at a dim link, and then give me a brief description of what your build is and what you're trying to get at by showing me it. And then we can look at things like that. But focusing on the dim link submitted by this user on my Discord, Yes2665 says, Beyblade NUKE build. Basically, you get ×4 from Fortracer. Use the tessellation grenade thing, then that spawns a Beyblade, then repeat. So I used this guy's base build, and then I worked from it there. I actually really like this process. Just putting it out there, people. I think the way forward for me is more interactivity with people. So I don't mind you submitting dim links because I can use it as a base build and then build it up. I don't mind you giving me the identity of the build and then I spec it out and fine tune it like a car for what we're doing. In this case, it's obviously solo GM environment. So I've altered his dim link and like I say, I'm fine tuned it. So going on to just the basic information, let's get the basics out of the way. The GM's inside Terminus, surges are Void Surge, Strand Surge. So Strand Surge is going to take a massive benefit from my build. Void Threat is on, Champions of Barrier Unstop, and a couple of other GM mods not worth mentioning. Okay, so Tessellation first. Let's go into this because this gun's very complicated. I'm just going to use Destiny 2 Compendium's info description. I'm not going to read out the entire thing. I'm just going to read out the important parts, but I will say, essentially, Tessellation is a pseudo fusion rifle / rocket launcher. When you do the overcharged shot, which you need to consume your grenade, so a long consume will put your grenade into the fusion rifle and turn it into a rocket launcher. That's exactly what it does. So Destiny 2 Compendium, you'll see the image on screen. So the first paragraph is just about the grenade stuff. But I just want to go to the third sentence that says, and I didn't know this until just now, I didn't know the exact details, can utilize Transcendence grenades at the cost of a grenade ability recharge, can utilize Song of Flame wisp grenades at no cost. This, make no mistake, this fusion rifle is a build crafter's dream. You can build craft this on all 5 elements. Let's read on. Kills grant 20% grenade energy. That is huge. Do you realize this weapon has intrinsic demolitionist incorporated to the gun? It is amazing for that, just alone. You can build craft off that demolitionist perk that it has. Read on. So, explosive damage, just explosive projectile shape, language, you know. There's a lot of spiel in this dialogue, but behaves like a rocket, detonating on impact, deals 180 impact damage, ends up being 3,000, you know, arbitrary number. Explosive damage in a 6-meter radius. Kills, detonate enemies, triggering a grenade matching chain reaction explosion. Explosive shot can be stored. So it has chain reaction built into it as well, and it can match the element, whether it be stasis, solar, strand, arc, and all that stuff. And whatever you pick will determine the type of chain reaction you get. Final paragraph. Explosive impact triggers a delayed detonation after 1 second. Delayed detonation deals up to 165 damage and applies elemental debuffs based on the grenade ability element to enemies within a 10-meter radius. I.e., if it's an arc grenade, it's blind. If it's solar, it's scorch. If it's stasis, it's slow. If it's strand, it's severed. If it's void, it's weakened, and so on and so forth. So there's so many different builds you can run with Tessellation. There might be 20, 30 different builds you could probably do with this weapon. But the user has submitted a very good way of actually buffing this weapon, and that is based around Fortracer. That will give us a ×4 weapon surge, which does buff with Strand Surge GM mod. So we're going to have a good uptime on ×4 weapon surge to buff the damage for Tessellation. So we're making it a strand variant of what it is, because it doesn't come with a base element. It comes with a flavorless element. You can then make it be the element whatever you choose. So it's based around Fortracer. Fortracer is also going to give us elemental pickups, which means more tangles. So this is an out-and-out Strand Nuke Tessellation build. Artifact mods, I guess let's cover that first. Oh, Tomb of Want, because people complain about this. So here we go. Top row is your Void builds, bottom row is your Strand builds. Look, that's what I've chose. But I have went with Engraven War Priests, just because I went with that because I'm using an LMG. I don't want to shreds on. I'll explain it. I don't want to shreds. So here's the artifact mods. Let's see what's important. Unraveling Orbs. Vile Weave. Elemental Siphon's nice. Hold the Line's nice for my setup. Dreadful Finisher's absolute necessary for this. Flashover always works because we're using Defib Blast. Enhanced Horde Shuttle, nice. And I went with Heavy Ordnance for the Resist. You get resistance. I didn't want to use to shreds. I could have run Limit Break, but I think this just complements the build very well. So you've had your artifact mods, now onto the actual build portion properly. Silk Strike, of course. The dodge I'm running is Marksman's Dodge for the lower cooldown. I don't need Gamblers. Fretted Spike goes on. Well, it's actually the only Strand melee option, isn't it? Yeah. So here's the important part. Use Grapple Grenade. Look at the cooldown. 1 minute 22 seconds. Look at these. It is pointless to use any other nade other than Grapple because you want the lower cooldown because you're going to sacrifice your grenade for Tessellation. That might sound bad, but it's not. Not on this build because the amount of grenade energy that you can generate. Get the lower cooldown grenade. Aspects are Fretted Spectre for Clone and Whirling Maelstrom for the Beyblades. It absolutely complements everything. Alright, Thread of Generation. This will stack with Tessellation's inbuilt Demolitionist perk. This is why it's so good on this build in particular, on Strand builds. All Strand builds have access to Thread of Generation, but it's not available on Prismatic, remember that. I'm not saying you can't build Tessellation on Prismatic, you definitely can, but what I'm saying is Thread of Generation is Strand exclusive. And it's just incredible how good it is, the amount of grenade energy. This will allow you to keep stacking the Tessellation nuke bombs, right? Thread of Transmutation. While you have Woven Mail, your weapon final blows create tangles. Damaging targets with a tangle grants melee energy. Thread of Fury. Thread of Warding for Woven Mail for damage resistance. Okay, so armor mods. I've got double focus and strike on, a harmonic loader, double arc resist, concussive dampness, some strand mods on me because I'm running all strand weapons. I recommend a utility kickstart now. Disclaimer, in the run I ran grenade kickstart and I didn't realise, but grenade kickstart doesn't work when you consume your grenade to Tessellation. So I'm recommending that you just use utility kickstart for more clones. Prox Ward on and some other generic mods that I've got on, right? There's the actual build. So weapons, double special complements this build because Tessellation is fantastic for ammo economy, so I'm actually recommending, for once, it's rare a commodity with me, to do double special and to run a demolitionist weapon. That will complement the build so that you can keep getting your nukes back with a demolitionist style weapon. In this case, I run the Call because I know most people have the Call and it's just really good. It's a Strand weapon as well. It's just really good for this, and it's barrier rounds, obviously. And then finally, with a double special build, to complement all of that, we run a Pro Memoria Strategist for more clones, and I don't need to do bait and switch rotation, so I just ran Frenzy. Complements the build perfectly. But yeah, that was everything I think I've covered for the build, on with the run itself. Okay, so in this run, let's establish the ability uptime of Beyblades, the amount of damage that Tessellation puts out on champs, the amount of detonation damage that it does against adds, and all that sort of stuff. I'm going to clear out the initial champs. You can skip them. I don't want to. I want to showcase this build off as much as possible in this run. Alright, Tessellation gameplay loop. You need to overcharge the weapon before you come to an encounter at all times. You constantly want to be having that loop of overcharging your weapon. Get used to it because you're going to keep getting your grenades back. So we're going to prime this champion with a Threaded Spike. Then we'll kill it. Then we'll get his barrier shield with piece and sidearms. Look at the amount of damage. Then I immediately overcharge Tessellation again. I get another tangle. We'll go for the shield break first. Then we'll overcharge with Tessellation. Then we get another Tangle. So you can see already the playback loop. I get a Drain Bane, but I'm deciding to, you know, just go to the next champ because we can out-tank that. And then we're going to go to this next barrier champ. We'll prime him with the Python sidearm and then just go for a finisher kill to recuperate some special ammo lost on these 3 initial champs. You'll notice I'll manage my ammo in this run accordingly. It's not too bad because Tessellation, you actually only want to use this weapon on a one-shot buy basis. You don't really want to use it in its non-buffed state, much only for unstops because of the nuke bomb doesn't do its max damage against unstops because it's the initial shot. I'll explain it as we come to it. I use a super here to get some advantage positioning on this barrier champ and clear the tunnel. That's exactly what the super's on for, just right there. So we do that. Get rid of the super now. The super's done its job. And you always want to at least be threaded spike in the champ most of the time, but prime them with the call and then whip out the fusion and then you do massive damage and then you can finish that target. I was going to finish him, but I've got a Tangle on there on the floor to pick up, so I just picked up the Tangle. There's plenty of champs in this to finish, so that's fine. And when we do get weak on special ammo, you spam the LMG. That's what that's there for, to then, you know, in hopes of getting special bricks, which you do. The run's fine on ammo economy. It absolutely is. I've got a Tangle for the next cap point. Look, I'm optimizing my tangles. There's a Tangle stuck behind the invisible wall, so that's unfortunate, but that's fine. Hopefully I can detonate it in a minute. Looks like I can't in time. So with the big blast for Tessellation, it won't do the massive amounts of damage on the initial stun to unstop because it's unstoppable fusion, right? So you'll see here, for example, I've got the massive stun shot, but it doesn't do the massive damage because I haven't stunned the unstop. But that's fine. I'm just mentioning it. So ideally what you want to do, for unstops at least, is not overcharge Tessellation. Do a base shot, then do the stun damage. I haven't mentioned, but I didn't run particle deconstruction in this because it doesn't suit the weapon very well to run particle. I ran a run today with particle and it was no good for the playback loop. The reason being is because the massive impact shot doesn't work with particle very well, which means you need to do pre-fire shots with non-buff Tessellation to then get particle to then overcharge the weapon. The playback loop's no good for particle, in my opinion. You don't need the particle buff, is what I'm saying to you. 4 Tracer times 4, weapon surge is enough. It's also stand surge this week on the GM. There's plenty of damage in this kit. Don't need particle. I've already tested it before. You say, oh, you should be running particle. No, I don't want to run it. It's no good to run it. Okay, so the unstop sort of misbehaves a little bit. I'll overcharge the fusion again. I'm just going to pop super here because the unstops misbehaved slightly. This is my first time watching this run back, actually. So my goal is actually just to clear out the ads, mainly. I've spawned in the unstop, which is good. We'll take care of these snipers. That's generally what I like to do, is just manage these snipers a little bit. And my goal is to get another Tangle. There's a Hypernova set off there, but I'm actually going to focus the barrier champ because I'm out of the Hypernova's radius. So we overcharge with Tessellation. Let's see the damage from distance. Remember, it's a rocket launcher. Yeah, look at that massive damage it does. And it only goes higher at times as well. Depending on the impact damage. Depends on how it hits the champ and stuff like this. But it does very nice area of effect damage, which you'll see that going on in the run. Okay, so I'm now having a little bit of a moment with the Tangles and the Relic, because I want my Tangle, but I can't pick up the Relic. I wish you could pick up both things. I wish, like, your elemental pickups were separate from relics. It'd be hard to code that, but it is, you know, I'm wanting to optimize here. So I want to throw a Tangle at this champ, and then boom, massive damage with Tessellation. Remember, Tangles will set off 4 Tracer buff. So that's counted as ability damage, so you're going to get a times 4 weapon buff for Tessellation. Tessellation, in my opinion, is a very good exotic, but it's got a high demand ratio for build crafting. You've got to really be into build crafting to really take advantage of tessellation. I mean, a lot of us are, but some of us aren't as well. So it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, this. But for those really people who are optimistic about build crafting, well, here you go. This is probably the best build crafting weapon look at the damage. This is the best build crafting weapon in the game. You can build craft it on all 5 elements. If you're on Void, you will weaken. If you're on Solar, you will have like an incandescent scorch effect to adds. But look at, we're playing aggressive here. I want to prime this barrier champ. Prime the barrier champ, then pop super. That will then clear the barrier champ. And then we can then start clearing out the rest of the area. I had a comment the other day about somebody said, never super champs. It was the craziest comment I've ever seen. And it was only just one guy, but just to put it out there, you should always be trying to super champs. Make no mistake about that. That is ridiculous. You know, maybe this guy just mains Consecration Titan and just uses Transcendence on champs. But remember, Destiny 2 is not called Consecration Prismatic Titan.com. It's called Destiny 2. Destiny 2 encompasses a wide array of builds. Guardians, open your eyes up. Okay? Definitely be super and champs. This is the worst take I've ever heard in my life. Definitely, especially on a Roman super build, be super and them damn champs. You just need to, with barrier champs, strategize, get prime the barrier champ, yeah? Then use super after first shield break. Golden rule. You will one cycle most champs with most Roman supers. Even Stormtrance can do it. I know because I've tested them all. Yeah? Pretty much I've used every single Roman super, haven't I, this year? I don't think I've missed one out. The only super I've missed out in GMs is the Arc one. I can't even remember the name of it. You know, the new one. It's not Roman. It's the one-off Arc super. Not Gathering Storm, the other one. I don't even know what the name of it is. I have never used that one in GMs on a video. That's the only one I've missed. So, for the most part, supers are foolproof nowadays. Especially if you match a Surge, is what I'm saying. Silk Strike puts out massive amounts of damage as well. Silk Strike got buff, remember. You should be using Silk Strike on Prismatic as well. Okay, so these gladiators, I'm going to deal with them. I'm going to manage my ammo accordingly. I've got lowish ammo on my sidearm, but Tessellation ammo is very strong. Look at that. We haven't spammed it. Yeah? Because you're using it on a shot-by-shot basis, which that's exactly how you should be using it. So, in this case, I think Tessellation shines very well as a double special weapon. There are some weapons that, let's quote it now, there are some weapons that are very favourable for double special loadouts. Lord of Wolves is one because of its high ammo capacity. Velocity Baton is another. Lost Signal is another. GLs. Those types of weapons are very favourable for double special builds. But some other weapons aren't as favourable for double special builds. Let's give you an example. Jotun, Telesto. These types of weapons, no, they need a primary to back them up. Yeah, because you want your full special to go in that weapon because they're a spammy type weapon. Yeah, whereas Tessellation's not a spam weapon. It's a nuke bomb weapon that you use shot by shot basis, which means your other special weapon that you're using is going to get a lot of special ammo. In this case, the call, because your ammo is halved. But if you have full special ammo in your other weapon, in this case Tessellation, all of that special will go into the call for this case. And because call has demolition and it's a special weapon, it allows me to generate a lot of grenade energy in this run, therefore having the feedback loop of constant spam of nuke bomb when I need it and when I want it. And generally speaking, I will get my nuke bomb ready for each next section. And in most cases, I get it back because of kills with the Tessellation detonation damage, because it's got demolitionist built into the weapon, as I said at the start of the video. All right, so this little cap point, if you ADS, the ads spawn in slower. I don't know why. Like I say, I've been saying that all week. Look, I can cap the plate before the ads even get here. It's actually rather good. Okay, so I want to generate a tangle, and I want to use my super. So let's see. But I end up using an enhanced tessellation shot first. It does chunk, And it only chunks more at times, depending on like detonation damage and stuff. But yeah, I'm going to go with my super first and just keep making Beyblades. I get a double damage bonus on the floor. That's unfortunate. That's bad RNG because I would have liked that for my super. But you can't count on those double damage bonuses. And this run is not based on double damage bonuses either. You've got all the damage in the world to deal with everything. If double damage bonus didn't exist, this run would be pretty much the same. It'd be pretty much identical to what you've saw today. So we'll make a tangle here with Tessellation. Nice. I've got a clone up there so that the ads sort of take heat off me. Strategist Pro Memoria is giving me more clones in this. Like, look at how good that is. Yeah. And then Call's giving me more nades. And Strategist gives me more nades because I got Bomber. So this build is very layered. It's not just, you know, straight down the line. There's a lot of things, moving parts with it. But, as I say, it's a build crafter's dream weapon, this. It really is. But you need to really spec into that grenade portion of it. But just look at the damage that the Beyblade's doing. It's giving me grenade energy back because of Thread of Generation, do you see? That's exactly why I'm on this, because of Thread of Generation. You can make Tessellation work on prismatic builds as well, especially with the text I've just read to you. Imagine popping a Transcendence and being able to use your grenade over and over with Tessellation. For example, you could just keep nuking. I'll do that, but not right now, because right now I want to focus on this. I'm not going to do a back-to-back upload of the same upload. So maybe a week or two down the lines, depending on what's going on, maybe I'll do another Tessellation build that's prismatic, see what the interest's like. Okay, now we cap the plate. Mid plate's easiest to cap, so I'm just stepping on mid for now. It's fine. I've got a lot of things to deal with these plates. It's easy, the plates on this build. I make a tangle here. I should cap the zone. I'm not sure if I pop. This is my first time watching it back. I think I do. Let's just see. Maybe I don't. I'm not 100%. I've got a tangle in mid to set off. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, it's worth the pop now, see, because the ads are all on that plate. So that's fine. We'll just do that. Because we get plenty of Silk Strikes. Remember, it's got Roman Super Buff. It's got Roman Super Buff, so you get tons amount of energy because of it. Okay, first plate is capped. I've got a tangle in mid. I've got my fusion rifle overcharge noticed. Always overcharge it, be prepped. Because in the meantime, you're going to generate another grenade. After you use your Tessellation, you're going to immediately re-proc it. Look, I use it, although I think I lost it there or something, or did I just use it? You can lose the buff, by the way. If you manually reload Tessellation with the buff, you actually lose the buff. And I think Marksman's Dodge makes you lose the buff as well, so be careful of that. Don't manually reload if you've overcharged Tessellation. You will see it if you've overcharged it above your super bar. Okay, we're generating tons of tangles here. I'm getting damage resist from the LMG. That's why I've got that mod on. That resist for LMG usage. It's OP this season. Do some overcharged damage there. Plate is capped. I'm going to go to the left plate. I've got a super to use. I know gladiators are coming out, but I have a super as a plan if I want to use it. I can't mind how this turns out. Let's just see. So yeah, I am going to actually pop super because it's going to confirm the plate now, so I don't need to be waiting around. Totally worth doing. I've got a tangle in mid as well. And that's just taking care of all the ads and de-aggroing them. This is a very good build for de-aggroing ads because the Beyblade is going to keep the ads interested in that. And the clone is going to keep a lot of interest so that you can basically... It's acting as like armor, as secondary armor if you think about it. If you get weak as a hunter, boom, make a clone. You will probably survive that engagement. And it's like from my clone uses this season, if your shields are broken, there's a high chance of you surviving if you make a clone immediately, even if you're low in HP. Just because of the buff to clones. I know that clones were really strong, then they nerfed them because of PvP. But they're now they are now an option in PvE, definite. It's something that you want to look at for future content. In Frontiers content, if hunters want to start, experimenting with more things. I think the way forward for a lot of hunter mains to get better at the game is to start using clone tech. There's some hunters that are resisting it, there's some hunters that are embracing it, but I think you should just embrace it. Forget about the PvP nerfs that they've done to the clone. That's nothing to do with what we're doing in PvE. Embrace the clone thing. It's the best thing that hunters have had in years, in my opinion. For tech for defense against ads, best thing I've ever seen. For hunters for the last, I don't know, 3-4 years. That's just how I feel about it. I think, you know, I just think it's really good. But look at that. We do an overcharge shot. We immediately do another overcharge shot. The amount of grenade energy that we're making, look, just pay attention to that grenade energy that we're making. And look, I can do it overcharged again. So it's this playback loop of overcharging constantly. Then you get a tangle for more grenade energy. And this is the loop. This is the playback loop of the build. But that was a solo GM with the Tessellation Buildcraft Dream setup. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.